is a tool that exists. It kind of has a framework for penalties. The RNS is something we're shooting at every month and need to do on average a certain effectiveness each month. The model, actually, itself assumes that there'll be years where we underperform RNS or FCM and years that we overperform. And the net of that is still going to be a benefit to customers because there's all kinds of fluctuations. It's designed to produce a net benefit to customers over the life of the program. We've probably put a little more risk on the table with this approach in RNS because we're taking a 1-year snapshot and just saying, hey, we're going to hit the percent effectiveness we thought. FCM is a little different because you do have the 1 and soon to be 2 probably per year. But the model is intended for you to have fluctuations in that over the life.
Thank you. You just brought me to the next point. So ISO New England is looking at moving from a once a year forward, 3-year forward market to a seasonal prompt capacity market. And I'm assuming that has the potential to impact the overall financial benefits associated with storage. Is that fair?
It is, yeah. We're going to see what plays out, obviously, but right now the capacity market, as you're probably aware, is pretty low. I think it's in the $2 to $2.50 a kilowatt for the year. I expect the summer is going to maybe maintain in that range, but the winter is probably going to increase when they do accreditation, for say natural gas plants not being able to provide capacity. I think we're going to be glad we had this hedge and continuing to grow this for that 6-month window in the winter. I think it will benefit the model.
Thanks. One of the things I heard from ISO New England Independent Market Monitor, their most recent annual report, was he is anticipating that capacity market revenues in general will go down. Didn't really get into granularity about summer versus winter. But in part, he was making that statement because day-ahead ancillary services markets, the need for more real-time ancillary services or day-ahead ancillary services is going to increase, and generators or resources would expect to get more revenue from those ancillary service markets. Now, I don't want to get too in the weeds or nerd out too much on this, but I am curious about, as changes are happening with ISO New England wholesale markets, and you have things where I'm not sure there's behind the meter advantage in a day ahead ancillary services market versus the need to actively participate. How is GMP providing appropriate tracking of the different revenue streams available and providing, I guess, the reporting on what's happening and how is this impacting the financial model on a going forward basis?
Yeah, that's a great question. And essentially, there's a team of a few folks here that's exactly what they're doing. And I would say we actually can impact even DAISY in the real time using the storage system. So when there's a likelihood of the DAISY having a high hour and we reduce our load in that hour because of the FER, forward energy reserve payments, and the strike price difference, we're lowering our net cost to DAISY just by doing that. So we are looking at how to optimizing this thing across all of those markets as a load reducer. It's different than when you're a front of meter asset, but and I'll say it's little. We don't put a lot of value on the DAISY reduction, but there is value there. There's value in energy arbitrage. There's value in the frequency regulation, in the capacity market, the RNS. And the team is focused on how do we continually could we even change our day ahead load strategy, knowing we have storage I can dispatch now to max that? Can we soak up solar when we're seeing positive load out of Vermont GMP territory to avoid having to go? So those are all things that are evolving and being added to the model, as we look ahead. Again, in the early stages, DAISY and energy are a smaller piece of it, but I could anticipate those growing over time.
Good. Thanks. But a more direct sort of tying this to this particular case, are there regular updates, reporting requirements related to revenue streams that aren't? How do we ensure that we're discussing capturing these? Is it through the IRP? Is it through MYRP reporting requirements? How do we best address sort of the fluidity of the ISO wholesale markets and changing revenue streams?
I think I would probably refer to we do an annual storage specific filing to the commission, the department, and everybody. And that at that point, we do a backwards look and a forward look. And if appropriate, an updated model with those streams. So I would anticipate that's a good. We also have our metrics, and we kind of hit at a high level, total value, total cost. But I think that that report is going to be the best place to capture those, because we are, like I said, as the opportunity arises to go after more of these value streams, we're absolutely going to go after them, and then we would be adding that to the model, and then including that when we report out on how's it performing and how do we expect it to perform going forward.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yep.
That's all I had. I don't know if other folks, and actually I just want to pause for 1 second. Mr. Burke, I just saw the 5-minute warning pop up. I haven't done this with external folks. Internal, it just keeps going without any problem. So you assume that's going to be the case. Great.
I think we're good. Holly set
All
the
right,
meeting
just
up, and she's
checking.
technically the organizer. So,
Okay, great. Thanks. But Mr. Burke, I think you had.
I have what I believe are just a couple very quick questions. Mr. Castonguay, I don't know if you heard me ask Mr. Bingle earlier about rate design and any plans for the company. And I don't know, do you know, does GMP have any plans for filing a rate design petition in the near term future?
Yeah, so we have engaged with a consulting partner to help us there, and my understanding right now is we're aiming for late end of 2027 to bring forward a rate design filing to the commission.
That's helpful.
Yep.
And I just want to confirm, I understand your testimony in this case to state that the Zone 4, I'm calling it the Zone 4 residential storage component of the Zero Outage Initiative, at least for the term of this multi-year rate plan, is not going to be instituted. Is that correct? Or is that sort of on ice?
No, so as it was originally conceived in the tariff approach, we are, the short is we're going to come forward with most likely a pilot before the start of the multi-year within our new initiatives. We're basically reworking what exactly we want to be able to achieve and learn through that program. So it's going to be slimmed down from what was originally discussed, but we still feel pretty strongly that we want to move something forward to test, and within the sort of the confines of the plan as we have it now. So yes, to answer, we would be still moving forward with something there. We're reworking all the components of the program, what we would want to learn and test through that as well.
So would the costs for that then fall under the resilience spending, or would it fall into one of the other buckets of the multi-year rate plan?
I think for the initial review, it would be under the new initiatives capital item. It would be a pilot and small scale. And from there, it would depend on where it goes. Obviously we have another tariff before the commission right now for our ESS program. The timing of that we propose to go into the middle of the MYRP, thinking that if something out of the pilot makes sense, that could be a good time to look at bringing those together potentially. Still a lot to learn and kind of dig into, but for now, the pilot would be within the new initiatives capital of the MYRP.
Okay. And have you been consulting with the department as you're moving forward with that, or if you haven't been, will you be before we see that at the commission?
For the pilot, yeah, we have previously, and we were going to come forward with a pilot. We're working on it based on some feedback discussion. We will be discussing with the department, and as we do with any pilot now, and if this changes to the 30-day window we discussed, that's all good. And we always give pilot filings to the department in advance of going to the commission, and then have dialogue around that time. And then once we're good there, we put it before the commission. So yes, we would be doing that in discussion with the department.
Thank you. That's helpful information.
Yep.
just in terms of that pilot filing, one thing that would be helpful would be if there's any prior pilots that are similar in nature, it would be helpful if you just identified those and explained how this one would be different.
Sure. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, will do.
And then regarding Mr. Poor's testimony, he had a recommendation to move forward with the ESS tariff program performance metrics on a trial basis. And so I'm wondering what you think of in terms of revisiting the performance metrics timing wise. Do you think 2 years, or I'm just wondering what you think about that?
I mean, it feels like a minimum of 2 would be the absolute quickest, just because you need the time, the years to kind of perform. So yeah, I mean, after 2 years, I think revisiting could make sense and discuss. You know, we have the SQRP has sort of this like required, not so much a filing, but has a 2-year review that we do internally and discuss with the department if any changes are warranted there.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it'd be after that.
Okay, that's helpful. That's all I have.
I've got, I think, one pretty quick question, Mr. Castengay. With the storage benefits that are already on the system, so the people that are able to use, or customers rather, that are able to use the storage, how, if at all, is that benefit incorporated into the reliability metrics and the cost benefit analysis that is, of course, dependent on the reliability metrics?
Do you mean the cost benefit analysis for the storage itself?
No, I mean, customers on circuits that might have undergrounding or the spacers implemented may already be a part of a GMP battery storage tariff, have battery storage. So when you're counting an outage, whether an outage occurred and the duration of an outage, I'm curious if that battery storage is being, I guess essentially if someone has a battery and that battery is able to produce power for them for the extent of an outage, is that still counted as an outage duration in the reliability metrics? Or is it treated as like not an outage because they had the backup?
So at this point, when it comes to the actual sort of regulatory approach, it's still an outage. I think there's been discussion on 4.900 being opened up, reviewed to either, I don't know if it means change the definition of what an outage is, but incorporating storage, which obviously we're a fan of looking into that. But my understanding is when it comes to the reliability metrics themselves, it's correct. Like the battery storage backup is not counted in that metric. You're seeing sort of just the raw outage.
Okay. Do you have any idea of how many customers on those 10 worst circuits are participating in one of the battery storage tariffs that GMP offers?
I don't know the number exactly. It wouldn't be a hard thing to get. I'm not sure right here.
Okay, that's fine. I was just curious. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Any other questions from commission side? Not seeing any. All right. Ms. Brennan, any follow-up questions?
No follow-up from the department. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brennan, any redirect?
No redirect for Mr. Castagay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Castagay. Appreciate you
Thank you.
appearing today. All right, so next steps. I believe that we've gotten through all the GMP witnesses.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So we will start tomorrow with Mr. Poor and Mr. Enterline starting at 9:30. Anything else that we need to talk about today before we end?
I will just clarify, we do not intend to do a pre-hearing at 9:15 tomorrow unless the parties request one. If you feel like it's necessary, just reach out to Holly.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. No further issues from GMP.
All right. Well, thank you all very much, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.